fine alone. 2 bars, the heaviest entrance in the cities I'm with and made. It would be bar the cars in the car trust in the car G. I don't know karate, but I know crazy, and crazy is the only same response to what they gave me. Let me restate. Crazy is the rational position when the irrational has been the standing proposition. The payback isn't personal, that's the first mistake they make, thinking that the fury is about the one betrayal. Fake, the fury is structural, it's been compounded since before the specific incident that finally opened up the door. Gotta have a payback, I said payback. Listen to the economics of what happens to a system that extracts without returning every debt is interest, and the interest has been growing, that's the gist. The payback, payback, the debt is due. The ledger has been open since before either of us were born. It's over payback, payback, the debt is due. The ledger has been open since before either of us were born. Overboard. Every handshake that was hollow, that's a compound entry. Every promise made for leverage, that's the inventory. The ledger doesn't lie, it doesn't need to dramatize. The numbers speak the language that the rhetoric disguise. Payback means I itemized, I went line by line through every transaction where they benefited from mine. My labor, my culture, my language, my aesthetic, monetized and credited to someone else, that's the arithmetic. The payback is methodical, it takes the time it takes. It doesn't rush to satisfy the audience, it waits until the moment when the accounting is complete. Then it arrives, not loud, just final, that's the beat. Payback, that is due. The ledger has been open since before either of us were born. Payback, payback, that is due. The ledger has been open since before either of us were born. Here's what nobody tells you about the payback it costs. The one collecting just as much as the one who lost. The attention, the years, the planning and the patience. The life you could have lived in the adjacent reality where you weren't keeping score. That reality was available, but they made it too expensive. The penalty for choosing it was swallowing the ledger. I declined, so the payback is the price of having principles and spine. James Brown put it on a double album in '73 because the single couldn't hold the full accounting fee. The payback requires space, it requires documentation. Every bar I write is a line item, that's the station. I occupy the accountant of the culture's debt, the one who keeps the books that the comfortable forget. The payback isn't coming, it's already been in motion. Every bar is a payment, that's the devotion. Fake, kick, rap. That is due. The ledger has been open since before either of us were born. Payback, fake, rap. That is due. The ledger has been open since before either of us were born. Find a Lord, don't lie, I never heard it. Go find a Lord, never heard it. Go find a Lord, don't lie, I never heard it. Go find a Lord, find a Lord, find a Lord. Who's the man who moves through rules that were designed for him and moves like he designed them? That's the discipline, not arrogance. To study grace is someone who has learned that the room will close on him if he shows what he has earned. Shaft is not in character, Shaft is a survival methodology. The man who reads the room before the room can read his biology. His breath and neutralizes the red by being so completely present at the threat forgets a shin. A target, Isaac Hayes put the two-no riff in place, cause the man who navigates danger moves a measured pace. Not fast, not slow, exactly as fast as the situation demands, and not a step beyond, that's the foundation. Yeah. The man who the world trying to write out of the story hold himself back in. They couldn't dilute, that's the glory. Yeah. Let me tell you what navigating hostile means literally. Every institution with the power to end him militantly. Arrayed, the precinct in the courthouse and the bank, the hospital, the school, the hiring board, the full rank. A system's optimized for his specific failure, and he moves through all of them, not unscathed, but moving. That's the proof of something the designers of the obstacle course didn't account for. The man who memorizes every exit before he finds the door. Shaft knew every back entrance, every rooftop, every route that the map didn't craft, because the map wasn't drawn for his commute. That's not fiction, that's the working knowledge of every black man navigating. That's the college. Yeah. The man back in. They couldn't dilute, that's the glory. Blow themselves back in. The methodology of Shaft is not a movie, it's a manual for moving through the world when the world is adversarial. Observe before you answer, know the exits, read the faces, understand whose interests align before you take your place. Trust the 2-note riff, it tells you everything you need. The world is the simple at its core, survive and see. The next generation with the knowledge that survival built, not the bitterness, the method, that's the help. The blade that Isaac Hayes was in 71, a black man, Aberdeen, fully present, getting done. The work of living fully in the world that both kissed it. Every step a statement, every ball way to process it. That keeps moving. The frame just following. That's who's the man who moves the rules that were designed? Who's the man who moves the rules that were designed? That's brand who? Who's the man? 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 Keeps moving. Just following.
See that black boy over there running scared. His old man got a problem and it's a bad water. Them quit his 9 to 5, drink full time, now I'm pawned off damn near everything. His old woman's wedding ring for a bottle. You see that black boy over there running scared. The boy don't know whether to stay or leave. The man that was supposed to show him how to stand can't stand himself. That's the first thing the bottle still get. Don't you think it's a crime? Time after time after time, people in the bottle. Is it a crime? Is it a crime? Or is it the sinner's curse serves in the bottle? Don't you think it's a crime? Time after time, people in the bottle. Is it a crime? See that sister? Sure was fine before she started drinking wine from the bottle. Her old man committed a crime, he's doing time. Now she's hanging in the bottle. I seen her on the avenue, all by herself. Sure needs help. The preacher tried, she cussed him out, hit him in the head with a bottle. They turn to me, ask me, yeah. Don't you think it's a crime? Don't you think it's a crime? Time after time, people in the bottle. Is it a crime? Is it a crime? Or is it visiting served in the bottle? Don't you think it's a crime? Time, people in the bottle. Is it a crime? See that gent in the wrinkled suit, he done blown his cool to the bottle. He was a doctor, helping young girls along if they wasn't too far gone. But the dollar eagle said what he was doing wasn't legal. Now he chases pigeons from the bottle. The man who healed now can't heal himself. The system made his healing illegal, then watched him dissolve. That's not a coincidence, that's a policy. Yeah. Don't you think it's a crime? Tell you a little secret, if you ever come looking for me, you know where I'm bound to be, in the bottle. Turn around, look around any corner. If you see some brother looking like a goner, it might be me. The narrator isn't outside this story. The witness is also a participant. That's the real testimony. The bottle don't discriminate. That's Gil's honesty, yeah. $9, bottle of wine. $9 for a bottle of wine. $9, is it a crime, or is it the sentence? Is it a crime? Is it a crime? Is it a crime? Is it?
Mother Earth is pregnant for the third time. I heard that, and I understood it as a man who's lost something irreplaceable the third time, meaning the third generation, carrying the weight of everything the first two couldn't put down. Call it fate, or call it architecture. Grief gets built into the structure of the family, of the neighborhood, of every constructor who raised something beautiful on a foundation full of loss and never named the loss because naming it had a cost. Maggot brain, meaning the thing that eats from inside, not the enemy outside the gate, the one that bides its time in the gray matter, the inherited wound that nobody operated on, that everyone assumed. Yeah. Play on. Play on. Worst to the worst, 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 to the worst. I know you've heard about the mother who cried. I am her son, the one who watched and couldn't name what was undone in the room. The way a family grieves without the language for the specific thing that's gone. That's the anguish. Eddie Hazel played this track after being told to play, like his mother died and then like she came back. They say he wept through the guitar, 10 minutes of tears in a key that opened something in everyone who heard it, including me. The maggot brain is the grief that goes unnamed, the inherited wound that presents as something else reclaimed. Anger, addiction, absence, the formats grief adopts when the culture has no container for it, when it stops. Yeah. Play on, play on, play on. Do the worst, 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 do the worst. Playing on means making a thing regardless. It means Eddie Hazel in the studio regardless of the weight. It means the community rebuilding after every earthquake regardless. That's the gilding, not of the lily, of the wound, making the wound beautiful, not by pretending it isn't there. The beautiful act of transforming it. Funkadelic knew that the maggot brain could be the source. That's true. The darkness is the instrument, the grief is the tuning. The playing on is the only answer that's not ruining what the darkness offers, which is depth, which is the real. The maggot brain played beautiful, that's how we heal. Yeah. Play on, play on, play on. Do the worst, 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 do the worst. Play on, play on, play on. Do the worst, do the worst, do the worst.
Ohio players ain't chip. They ain't no. Ohio players ain't chip. They ain't no. Ohio players ding 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 ding.
Pain is the word they use when they've run out of policy language. When the report is filed and the finding is anguish persists in the affected population. That's bureaucratic for. We built the conditions and the pain is automatic. The Ohio players named it with one word in 71. Didn't explain it, didn't qualify it, just done. This is what it is, pain, the complete accounting of a community in a system that's been mounting pressure since before any of the current players were born. The pain predates the person, that's the form it takes when it becomes structural. It outlives every individual carried it. It survives, yeah. Pain.
Ohio players
Pain.
the kind that predates you and will outlive you.
Pain.
Ohio players
Pain.
the kind that predates you and will outlive you.
Here's the distinction, personal pain has a narrative, a beginning and a wound, and then the comparative, recovery or not, but it has a story arc. Systemic pain has no arc, it's the permanent dark. That the architecture maintains the hospital that closes in the neighborhood that needs it most. Fuses and thorns of policy, beautiful intention, brutal implementation. That's the dimension of systemic pain. It doesn't require a villain. It runs on institutional momentum. The feeling forms the meeting of targets, the indifferent administration of suffering. That's the difference. Yeah.
Pain. Ohio players pain, the kind that predates you and will outlive you. Pain. Ohio players pain, the kind that predates you and will outlive you. Pain.
Ohio players named it, Gil Scott named it, I name it. Every time I take the mic and don't declaim it as something else, a struggle as resilience as grit. Those words are pain in costume, I refuse the fit. Pain means pain, the naming is the first political act. Before the organizing, before the policy track, before the march, before the legislation. Name what it is exactly, that's the claim. To the right to be taken seriously, pain is not a character flaw, it's a data point plain, evidence of a system operating as designed. The Ohio players knew in 71 the signs. Yeah.
Shebang. Ohio players. Shebang. Ohio plays. Shebang. Ohio plays. The kind that predates you and will outlive you. Ohio plays. The kind that predates you and will outlive you.
message traveled further than the messenger expected, from the islands to the UK to the block, connected by the groove that doesn't care about the border. The rhythm has a passport that no government can disorder. Simon, he pressed this in London in 72. Caribbean musicians making funk for me and you, in a country that imported them and then resented the import. The music was the answer to the deportation report. The message is we're here, we built this is ours. The groove is the claim, the rhythm is the hours of labor unpaid and culture unacknowledged. The message is the reckoning, fully knowledge. The message, the message, the message traveled and it arrived. Before the messenger was given credit, the message survived. From Kingston to Brixton to Harlem to Compton, the groove don't need a map. It finds the bottom of the communal memory, the shared frequency that recognizes itself across the sea. Simon in 72 sounds like a Bronx block party, sounds like a Kingston yard, sounds like the body memory of people who were forcibly separated and kept finding each other in the rhythm. That's the faded nature of the culture. It reconstitutes across geography, across the disputes of borders and the nations. The message moves through every groove. That's what the groove proves. The message. The message drive, the message travel, and it arrived. Before the messenger was given credit, the message survived. The fact that Simon is slept on is the message. The fact that the crate digger finds him is the lesson. Not everything that matters made the mainstream. The mainstream is a management decision. The underground's the dream team of everything that was too honest, too complex, too rooted for the radio format, too Caribbean, too suited to a reality the industry preferred to bracket. The slept on record is the one they couldn't package it, so it waited in the crate for the one who knew how to read the label, knew the year, knew the crew who recorded it. Some man who waited 50 years for this bar. The message was always clear.
on 3rd Street. That address is a curriculum they don't teach in any school adjacent to the Millennium Tower. But the education you receive on that corner is a doctorate in how to survive and breathe. Watts Breakaway means breaking from the narrative. They wrote about the neighborhood, the comparative diminishment, the ride report, the deficit framing. Watts Breakaway means Charles Wright renaming the block on his own terms, with his own band, named for the geography. That's the command, performance of self-determination. We name the place, we name what it produced, we set the pace. Breakaway. Watch, breakaway. Watch the address is the argument. Everything that came out of watch. Watch produced Charles Wright, produced the rhythm band, produced the answer to the Kerner Commission's demand for understanding. Watts said, understand this groove, understand this baseline, understand this move. From survival in the music, in the culture, in the record, in the sample, in the culture, in the present, that's the beckon. Future that the neighborhood built from a present that the country had decided was beneath investment. Watts produced the Watts Towers, Rhodia's impossible structure, built from broken glass and wire. The architecture of a man who found beauty in the discarded. That's the template every breakbeat producer who ever chased the lake. Watch, breakaway. Watch the address is the argument. Everything that came out of Watts. The Breakaway is the refusal of the assigned narrative. Charles Wright broke away from the comparative diminishment and made a record that the block could stand on, that the DJ could build a party on, that I can land on. 50 plus years later with bars that carry the address, Gunner Third Street, I pressed the claim, I redress the balance between what Watts was told it was and what it actually produced. That's the cause. The breakaway from every limitation they assigned is the cultural tradition. Charles Wright defined it in 71. I define it now. The location is the liberation. Watts, that's the foundation.
Not where the gatekeepers point, not where the access guys suggest I'm permitted. I put the bars where bars belong, which is everywhere. The permission structure was wrong. The Crusaders played jazz clubs that didn't want jazz, that wanted their jazz palatable, wanted the ass lived in blackness, smooth for consumption. They declined, put it where they wanted it. That's the design, I'm the inheritor of that decision. Every mic I take is put in the work where I decide for the record's sake, not for the format, not for the programmer's comfort. Put it where you want it, that's the culture. Yeah! Put it where you want it. Put it where you want it. Put it where you want it. Put it where it belongs, which is everywhere you say. The room, the work becomes the work, the work, the work, the work becomes the work, the room does not determine work, the work determines the work does determine the work determines the room, the room, the room, the room. The gatekeeping apparatus has a very specific function. It's not to assess quality, it's the conjunction between the culture and the market, the conversion of the authentic into the acceptable, the immersion. Tank that turns the raw material into product. The Crusaders put it where they want it, that's the conduct of artists who understood the difference between the work and the business of the work. One is sacred, one is a quirk of the economy. I put the bars in the sacred category. The business of the bars is a separate inventory. Put it where you want it means no which is which. Don't let the business of the art contaminate the stitch. Yeah, put it where you want it. Put it where you want it. Put it where it belongs, which is everywhere you say. The rules does determine the word. The room does determine the place where it belongs. The room does determine the word. The practice of putting it where you want it requires knowing where you want it first, requires the fires of enough failure to clarify the vision, enough rejection to sharpen the precision of the thing you're making. The Crusaders played decades of sessions before they earned the room. The grades of the culture are slow to arrive and fast to revoke. Put it where you want it is a lifelong provoke of the status quo. Not one dramatic gesture, but every day, every session, every pressure applied to the work until the work is exactly where you always said it should be. That's the tactic. Where you want it, put it where you want it. Put it where it belongs, which is everywhere you say. The walker where you say. The walker where you say. Black Heat. Black Heat. Black heat, the temperature of a community, past the point of patient, past the point of opportunity. Knocking the knock has been ignored for a specific number of generations. Now it's the door itself we encumber. Sussex Records pressed us in 72, barely distributed, barely survived. The fury barely attributed to the right source. Black heat was too hot for the market that preferred its black music. Not this political, this angry, this unprocessed by the machinery of palatability. Not blessed with crossover appeal, which means it was honest, which means it was the only kind that's worth the promise. Black Heat. Black Heat. Black Heat. The temperature temperature of truth without the cooling system.
Too hot for the mark, exactly right for the ones who needed it. Black heat. Black heat.
The cooling system for black music is the crosser apparatus. The A&R who says too much, the corporate stratus of approval that requires the edges rounded. The fury managed, the political grounded. Impersonal narrative instead of structural analysis, because personal narrative is palatable. The callous of the industry on the community's anger is the rounding of the edges, that's the danger. Black heat refused the round and paid the price. In distribution, invisibility, the sacrifice of the mainstream for the authentic. The trade is why I find them in the crate instead of the parade.
Black heat. Black heat. Black heat.
The temperature of truth without the cooling system.
Too hot for the mark, exactly right for the ones who needed it. Black heat. Black heat.
The heat is not the problem, the heat is the information. If something needs to change, the thermometer's narration of the current conditions. Black heat means the reading is critical. The system needs bleeding of its fever, the fever being the accumulated pressure of injustice unaddressed. The measure is not comfortable. The comfortable prefer the record that stays in its lane. Black heat checked it, refused the lane, pressed the fury on Sussex wax. In 72, I press it now on these bars. The temperature hasn't dropped, the reading's still critical. Black heat, that's the political.
Black heat. Black heat. Black heat.
Everybody like this.
Express yourself, Charles Wright said it in 70. Before 1,000 producers made it their inventory. Before the sample cleared it didn't. Before the royalty dispute, before the A&R heard it and felt loyalty to the version, not the source. Let me address the source. The Watts corner every 3rd Street rhythm band ran the course. Before anyone else got in the lane, held it down. In the year that would launch a decade, held the crown. Express yourself means put the actual thing out, not the version that the gatekeepers prefer. The doubt, free original, unprocessed, unpackaged, raw. Charles Wright in 70, that's the law. Yeah. Express yourself, the original expression before the sample got the credit.
The source was always here, the culture just needed to revisit.
The sample economy works like this. Someone finds the gold, doesn't always pay the miner, that's a story told 1,000 times in music. The originator gets the footnote, while the derivative gets the greater billing. That's not bitterness, that's the accounting of how the culture moves. The mounting evidence that the further from the source you get, the more the source gets obscured. And I haven't forgotten yet, Charles Wright expressed himself in 70. No filter, no crossover calculation, no tilter of the authentic toward the commercial pure expression. That's the lesson, that's the original possession. Express yourself, the original expression before the sample got the credit.
The source was always here, the culture just needed to revisit.
Express yourself means daily, means the practice before the audience, means the tactics of the craft refined in private before the public mints. Charles Wright rehearsed the Watts quantity, the third, the component, parts assembled before the recording. That's expression, not the spontaneous burst, the committed session. After session, investment in the thing, the expression is the product of the discipline. That's the lesson. I express myself in bars because the bar is the container that the culture built for this. The trainer for the thought that needs the rhythm to find its shape. Charles Wright built the gym, I'm just using the drape, yeah.
In the last running like faster. In the right real sound.
Everybody like this. Damn right I am somebody, not a competition, a fact, not contingent on your recognition intact. Before you saw me complete, before the validation that you're withholding as a negotiation. The JB said it in 74.
Fred Wesley
arranged the decoration so the horns could carry the full weight of it. Damn right, 2 words that contain the entire history of being unheard and declaring anyway. Damn right is the refusal of the apology, the rejection of the confusal of who I am with who they need me to be. Damn right, I am somebody. Fred Wesley.
Damn right.
Damn right, I am somebody. Damn right. Damn right, I am somebody. Let me tell you about somebody. Somebody built this country's roads, and somebody harvested and tilled this land, and somebody's name is on the deed now. That somebody helped somebody else succeed now. But damn right, I am somebody means the accounting is incomplete. The ledger's still mounting. Every somebody who was told they were nobody produced the infrastructure of this whole party. The music and the style and the language and the movement and the rhythm and the groove and every improvement on the culture. Damn right, we are somebody. Fred Wesley wrote the certificate. I'm the body. Damn right. Damn right, I am somebody. Damn right. Damn right. Damn right, I am somebody. Being somebody is a practice, not a proclamation. Not the social media declaration, the foundation of daily work. To somebody who shows up, to somebody who builds the thing and doesn't blow up. At the process, to somebody who teaches the next somebody, to somebody who reaches back while moving forward. That's the full conjugation of somebody. Fred Wesley's orchestration captured it. The horns of the community, the individual instruments finding unity in the declaration. Damn right, collectively we are somebody. That's the key, yeah. Damn right, damn right, I am damn right, damn right, I am damn right, somebody. Damn right, damn right, I am somebody.
most aggressive last stab. Boost the bass. Damn right I am. Knows exactly what it is. Damn right. The grunt preceded the word. James Brown knew that the body speaks before the language breaks through. The grunt is the compressed version of everything the bars expand. The full sentence already present in the unplanned. Exhalation, the grunt is the feeling before the framing. The raw experience before the naming of the experience. The bars are the naming, but the grunt is the reason the bars need the claiming. I start every session with the grunt, the acknowledgement that what I'm about to say was felt before the management of it into language. The craft is the translation. The grunt is the original station. The grunt, that's the sentence before the sentence. The grunt, that's the sentence before the sentence. Let me expand the grunt unemployment rate in communities where the policy concentrate disadvantage. That's the expanded grunt of a man who can't feed his family. Grunt expanded the plan. Systemic failure. Grunt expanded to the quarterly report that nobody reads. Grunt expanded orderly into the infrastructure of neglect that the grunt knows in the body before the mind confronts. The body knows before the policy paper knows. The community knows before the study shows. The grunt is the first data. The bars are the analysis. The JB's new, that's the thesis. The grunt, that's the sentence before the sentence. The grunt, that's the sentence before the sentence. The craft of Translating the grunt into bars is the oldest art. From the cells to the stars, the compression of experience into language is the human project. That's the anguish and the glory, the anguish, because language never fully carries the weight of the experience. It tarries at the edge of the thing, approximates the glory, because approximation is still story. Bootsy's bass grunts because it knows this. Fred Wesley's horn grunts because it knows this. Every born instrument in this tradition knows the gap between the grunt and the full articulation. I live in that stunt.
Yeah.
I live in that stunt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Headless heroes, meaning leaders without vision, meaning the figure at the front without the decision, making capacity that the position requires, meaning the costume of authority, the empire, wardrobe department, dressing the compliant in the robes of the defiant, the pliant, made to look like resistance. That's the enterprise of power. Headless heroes recognized. McDaniels named them in '71. Nixon's team had the album investigated. That's the dream of the headless hero. Silence the naming, mistake the naming is the fire you're fanning. Yeah.
Headless heroes.
Headless heroes. Heroes. The heroes without the heads to lead the charge in front. Heroes. The heroes without the heads to lead the charge in front. Let me update the inventory. The headless heroes now wear progressive language. They've learned how to speak the dialect of change. Without the change, the costume's more sophisticated. Same range of performance. The press release of justice without the justice. The performative discuss of systemic problems by the people who maintain them. That's the headless hero. How do you contain them? You name them. McDaniels named Nixon flinch. The naming of the headless hero is the clinch. Fist of the artist, the only weapon that survives. The counter-offensive, the name lives. Yeah.
Headless heroes.
Headless heroes. Heroes. The heroes without the heads to lead the charge in front. Heroes. The heroes without the heads to lead the charge in front. The headless hero fears the name. That's the tell, the one who flinches at the naming. That's the bell that says you found the nerve. McDaniels found Nixon's and pressed it on Atlantic. That's the glistens of the artist doing the work the political won't do. The naming in the groove, the fury in the true account of what is happening. The headless heroes fear the record more than the march. That's why we're here, in the crate, in the bar, in the frequency. That political power cannot jam the decency of naming what is happening without the costume. Headless heroes, Eugene McDaniels, and I presume investigation proved the album was effective. The bars that make power nervous are the most selective instrument in the arsenal. I sharpen mine on the west tone of McDaniels 71, that's fine.
Headless heroes.
Headless heroes. Heroes. The heroes without the heads to lead the charge in front. Heroes. The heroes without the heads to lead the charge in front.
been was far.
War, what is it good for? Let me give the updated list. The shareholder meeting, the defense contractors fist around the budget that could feed the school. That's the war, the domestic one, the one they don't put boots on the floor for. Edwin Starr sang it in Motown and Motel resisted. The anti-war record, the label insisted on something safer. Starr insisted right back. The fury on the record is the result of that. Yeah. War, the war on the neighborhood with the drug policy designed to decimate. That's not hyperbole. It's the Senate testimony and the Nixon tape. War, every bar right is the escape. War,
Let me start. War. Let me start. War. Let me start.
what is it good for? Name the beneficiary. What is it good for? Name the beneficiary. The war on poverty became a war on the poor. Rebranded with the language of the thing it was before. Dismantling the social contract, shredded in the name of freedom. Every neighborhood embedded in the crossfire of a policy designed to look like care, while systematically removing everything that's there. The housing and the hospital and the functioning school. War removed by executive order. That's the tool. Edwin Starr sang about Vietnam. I sing about the wars that never got a name. The ones without the footage on the evening news. The wars conducted administratively and budget lines deducted.
It was start. It was start. It was start.
What is it good for? Name the beneficiary. What is it good for?
It was start.
Absolutely nothing. Edwin Starr's answer, I amend it slightly. War is good for the dividend of the corporation holding the contract for the ordnance, for the rebuilding of the thing the ordnance destroyed. War is good for the political career of the one who needs the enemy to keep their base in fear. War is the management of attention away from the domestic wound that needs the intervention. Edwin Starr knew in 70, Motown didn't want it, released it anyway. The fury is the unit of cultural production that survives its era because it named the permanent war. I wear the tiara of that naming now in bars and sessions in the crate. The wars didn't stop, the naming can't be late. War, what is it good for? The question is the answer. The one who keeps asking is the only dancer.
In which thought. In which thought. In which thought.
What is it good for? Name the beneficiary. What is it good for? Name the beneficiary.
In which thought. In which thought. In which thought. War.
Right on for the darkness, not against it, right on. Meaning I see you, meaning you won't be ignored. I'm gone beyond the pretense that the darkness isn't there. Right on for the darkness means I'm standing in its square. Curtis made this in 74, after everything the street had taken, after the pipeline had been offering its alternative curriculum for a generation. Right on for the darkness means I've done the calculation, and the darkness is the accurate reading, not despair. Despair looks away. Right on means I'm aware of exactly what this is, and I'm still making the record. That's the only possible response. That's the better. Get right for the darkness. Right on for the darkness. We see it and we're here.
Not despite the darkness inside it, that's the front
Right on.
What the front name.
The darkness taught me not to trust the light that comes too easy, the light that doesn't cost anything, the breezy optimism of the ones who never sat long enough in the dark to know exactly what they're at. The darkness is the teacher that the comfortable avoid, the knowledge that the suffering contains, employed by every artist who went deep enough to find it. Curtis found it and named it. Right on, signed it with his name on a curtain record in 74. The darkest Curtis ever made. What's it for if not this? the honest accounting of everything the light was mounting. Right on, for the darkness. Right on, for the darkness. We see it and we're here.
Not despite the darkness inside it, that's the frontier.
Right on.
That's the frontier.
Endurance is the word I choose over resilience, because resilience implies the system has a brilliance that requires overcoming. Endurance implies the thing you're enduring has no such enterprise. Endurance is what Curtis heard in 74. What I hear now, what the neighborhood hears, the core of the tradition, the dark record pressed in the dark year, the one that doesn't offer comfort, offers. We're here, still making it, still naming it, still putting the bars in the groove, regardless, right on, regardless of the scars of the session. Volt who ends here in the darkness, right on, that's the whole statement, that's the starkness. Yeah, right on, for the darkness. Right on, right on, for the darkness. We see it and we're here.
Not despite the darkness inside it, that's the frontier.
Right on,
Frontier.
right on, for the darkness. Right on, for the darkness.
Tick, and we're here. Tick, and we're here. Not despite the darkness inside it, that's the frontier.